Recently, I had an amazing chance to meet with Kelvin from KW Shrimp in Singapore, an incredible shrimp breeder and one of the best I ever met. The experience was absolutely unforgettable. His tanks were packed with stunning high-grade Caridina shrimp that most of them I have never seen before. That was truly something special. And then after I just got home, I've got a message from Kelvin and he kindly offered to send me some of his amazing shrimp. I couldn't believe it. Getting shrimp from master breeder, it feels like a dream come true. I've got a message from Kevin this morning. He sent me a picture and said, hope you like them. They are all mixed grades Jewish, 30 inside each bag. Guys, I'm probably dreaming now. He sent me 240 shrimp. I have no idea what type of shrimp he sent to me. He never told me, I never asked, so I guess it's gonna be a nice surprise. There is only one little problem though. I have no tanks for them. I don't know where to put them. You know, when I visited Kelvin's store in Singapore, I was impressed with numbers and quality of shrimp he has. And once I returned back home, I decided I want to breed shrimp like Kelvin, I want to be like him. So first thing I did, I built 2 brand new tanks from glass and silicone. And I also decided to reset 7 of my old tanks with Kevin's method. Let me show you the tanks. Alright guys, they are all my tanks here. Let's start with a new one. So this tank I just built a few weeks ago. This one is 10 gallon by 35 liter tank, and I built it with Kelvin method mixed with shrimp hub method, I would say, because you can see that media at the bottom. Kelvin never used media, but shrimp hub, they always use media, only media, and they never use sponge. So this one is like a hybrid between shrimp hub and KW shrimp method. So I made this tank with half wall UGF at the back, then I put a little bit of bioballs media at the bottom of the UGF, and on top of the bioballs I put 4 centimeter sponge, and then I fill it up with AD Amazonia soil version 1. So this is a classic setup with very tall UGF box. The UGF box here is about 13.5-14 centimeters. So just to make sure we have plenty of soil at the top, we have a sponge and we have a bioballs at the bottom. We have very thin layer of AD Amazonia at the bottom of the tank, and I also have a 1 double sponge filter running here. And now let's move on to my rack, and I'm going to show you all the new setups here which I recently built. Here at the top I have a brand new tank which I built 3 weeks ago, and I set this tank up with Kelvin's method. You can see we have a very thick sponge at the bottom of the UGF. This sponge is actually 2 sponges. One is 2 centimeters at the top and 4 centimeters at the bottom, makes it total 6 centimeters. And we have about 5 centimeters soil at the top, about 2 inches if you're Americans. I also run a sponge filter, which is very important. You can see I have lots of sponge filters now in the tank. This tank is 1 month old, and you can see we have 2 double sponge filters and 3 outtakes for UGF. It has a massive filtration. I also have some bioballs at the bottom of the UGF. So this tank is also hybrid between shrimp hub and Kelvin's method. So I'm gonna see which setups works the best for me, and then I choose. I probably like the Kelvin's method. It's more simple to set up, and sponge is much cheaper than media. Media costs quite a lot. So next tank is exactly identical to this one. Kelvin's method, about half sponge, half soil, a little bit of soil at the bottom, and the sponge filter as well. It's already 1 month old, but we still have some ammonia here. That's why I'm running this canister filter here. So you can see the canister filter filled with media. Once your tank is fully cycled and you run your canister filter gonna seed it with beneficial bacteria, and because it has lots of media inside, it's gonna hold lots of beneficial bacteria. So you can simply move this canister filter around your new tanks, and these tanks gonna cycle much quicker. So that's why I'm using this one here, and I'm also using another canister filter over here. So this one is slightly bigger even. So this tank is also 1 month old, and that's why I run the filter here. I just want it to be cycled as quick as possible. We don't have a time, the shrimps are arriving tomorrow, so I want to put some shrimps in this tank as well. Even I have a little bit of ammonia. Here you can see I just tested ammonia readings for the oldest tanks I have. This is this one, it's 1 month and 2 days. And exactly this one, 1 month and 2 days, and the bottom also. I'm hoping this tank is going to be cycled as quick as possible so I can move some shrimp. I'm not going to put the new shrimp inside the freshly cycled tanks because it's quite risky. They're still not stable. There still may be some ammonia spikes and stuff like that. So it's better to put some kind of less expensive shrimp. That's why I'm going to move some of my shrimp inside these tanks. And then expensive Kelvin shrimp I'm going to put in my existing tanks. And here at the bottom I have 4 more tanks which I set up exactly the same way, Kelvin's method, with a sponge inside the UGF. This tank is only a few days old. You can see the water is still a little bit milky. This water a little bit cloudy as well, so they are less than a week. And this tank may be a couple of weeks old. I have plenty of new tanks and not many established tanks. I have 3 here, which can be used for Kelvin shrimp. This tank is for Caridina. This tank is large tank where I'm mixing a lot of shrimp from the bottom tanks. Here we have like a 3 different type of shrimp. I have some metallic shrimp and I have some galaxy tigers and some galaxy shrimp. So there's plenty of shrimp in this tank. When I feed them, it's going to be lots of them here. I cannot put any shrimp in this tank because it has already plenty of shrimp. And guys, these fancy tigers that I have in this tank, they are not super beautiful. You can see they are homemade. I just made them by crossing like galaxy tigers with my crystal shrimps. They just make a little bit of pinter shrimp sometime, which is good. You can see we have like a galaxy tiger shrimp even here. So they're quite nice, but I'm probably gonna mix them with my coals for now, and then I'm gonna separate them once I have a tank ready. You can see, guys, I have plenty of new tanks which are not ready yet, and in a month or so I'm gonna have plenty of available tanks for my shrimp. So I just need to mix my shrimp temporarily for a month or 2. And now, guys, let me tell you something really important that I missed before. That's probably why I didn't have such a great success with Caridina shrimp. So after my recent trip to Singapore, where I spoke with 2 lovely, very experienced breeders, Kelvin from KW Shrimp and Lawrence from Shrimp Hub, they both told me that sponge filters are super important for shrimp tanks. And before, if you follow my channel, you know that I didn't like to use sponge filters in my tanks. I normally just use UGF and that's it, no sponge filters. That's probably was my biggest mistake. Just for instance, look inside this tank, guys. I have 3 double sponge filters in there, and I also have 2 UGF boxes on either side. So I have like a 5 outtakes in total, and this tank doing absolutely great now. Once I installed the sponge filters, the shrimp behavior changed. They start to be very active. Used to be always like dead shrimp every week or so, but now the shrimp stop dying, they start to breed a lot, they become very active, they're always hungry, they're always roaming around the tank. And this is the most recent setup with Kelvin's methods. You can see I have 2 double sponge filters on either side with the large UGF and a sponge inside. You know, when I visited Kevin's place, I even saw 4 sponge filters in one of his large tanks. That's insane. Kevin told me to think this way. The main job of UGF filter is to buffer your water and lower your pH, and the main job of sponge filters is to filter your water. Because sponge filters host lots of beneficial bacteria, they're very good for biological filtration. Because we have slightly acidic water in our tanks, remember that bacteria multiply very slow in low pH. That's why it's quite important to have an extra filtration and add some additional sponge filters to your tanks. And remember, guys, not all the sponge filters are the same, and it's quite important to find a good quality one that can work for longer. You don't need to clean it very often, and it's gonna work much better. So let me show you which one I use. And you guys already noticed I have a green sponge filters in my tanks, and they are very good quality filters. Let me quickly show you the existing one I had before. So this one is very cheap filter. You're probably familiar with that. You can buy it everywhere in every shop and online, and they're very cheap. But they're cheap for the reason. Just for instance, look at this floor, guys. This floor may be looking good to you. Look at these ones, for example, and they are not in the full power. You can see how good is the bubbles here. They're very fine and they work very good. All the filters works really good, and I already noticed that in the Kelvin's shop. When I visited him, I saw he has the same filters and they work fantastically well. Let me show you the box. So the filters come in this box. This is how they call. They are Quani filters, and guys, they can work forever. They never clog. You don't need to clean this bubble maker compared to the cheap filters, because this filter I have to clean every month or so, otherwise it stops working, and I'm really tired from that. And this is the last one. It's already been in this tank for quite a long time, and I just didn't want to change this filter because it has some bacteria already there. And these filters also come with the little containers for the media, and you can fill them with some bioballs for extra filtration. I personally think that sponges already have enough filtration, so I don't use any media. But if you want extra filtration, you always can fill them with some bioballs inside. For example, I have plenty bioballs at the bottom of the UGF. That's why I decided not to use them. And guys, the reason why I'm using this filter with these containers, because Kelvin advised me so. He said once you see some mud inside these containers at the bottom, that's mean it's time to clean this filter. So they are kind of little indicators. It is the next day and the shrimps just arrived today, and take a look at the size of the box. It's huge. That's a lot of shrimp inside. So now let's open it up and see what Kelvin sent to us. Alright, here you go. We got 8 bags inside this one box. Each bag got about 30 shrimp, and we got 8 different kind of shrimp here. So I'm very excited. Cannot wait to see what Kelvin sent to us, which type of shrimp we got here. Bag number 1. I think we got the blue balls here. They look like that. They're a little bit dark, so let's see what we got. And they look almost black. And guys, it only took 30 hours for this parcel to get from Singapore to London. That's insane. You know, only flight take about like 14-15 hours. So another 15 hours is just handling from the airport to my house, you know. That's insanely fast. I normally send shrimp inside the UK with the express delivery, and they take even longer. So let's see how the blue balls look like. Oh, lots of them left here. I need to be a bit faster next time. Wow, guys, that's insane. They are so deep blue. Oh my god, that's we're gonna properly look at them later. So here we have a black fancy tiger. Oh, never had a black fancy tiger. They look almost like galaxy tigers. They're so bright and so dense, because galaxy tigers are normally more black and white contrast. I remember when I visited Kelvin's shop and I saw his black fancy tiger, the first thing I told him, this is not black fancy tiger, they are galaxy tigers, because they look so bright. And here you go, I got them here in my shrimp room. They're gonna be in my tanks, and hope I'm gonna breed a lot of them, guys. So here we have a black King Kong. Wow, that's so beautiful. They are so blue, like a blue balls, you know? Amazing, I never had him before. That's good to have in my collection. So here we have a red fancy tigers. Let's take a look at them. Wow, they're so beautiful. I really like how they look, guys. And they just arrived. They're very pale and stressed. So imagine how they're gonna look like when they settle in the tank. They're gonna be even more beautiful. Cannot wait for that. So here we have an ocean blue. You know, guys, I had him before, but my tank crashed when I was away in Thailand. I've been away for 1 month, and then I came back and they almost all died. I still got few of them in my cold tanks. I did manage to breed them from the few of them. But guys, my ocean blue weren't even close to these ones. Wow, they are beautiful. Oh my god, they're so blue. They have a head like a blue bolt, but the tail like a blue bolt on steroids. They are amazing. They are so beautiful. I'm really pleased to have it in my collection. Guys, Christmas came early this year for me. All right, our next shrimp, guys. And they are pure black line. Very easy shrimp, and should be no problem to breed them for me, guys. So they are Kelvin's favorite. They have only crown on the head. I think they call K14 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong, but they are very beautiful, and they have a very wide legs as well. I can see they're very high grade. Very pleased to have them in my collection as well. Alright guys, the next shrimps are Galaxy Tigers. I also have some Galaxy Tigers here just in this tank behind me, but they're just the calls compared to these shrimps. Kelvin's ones are on another level. I'm definitely gonna call my shrimps and just breed only these shrimps, because my shrimps are not as even close to the shrimps. I can see that some of them even have metallic color. Wow, that's so nice. Last but not least, we have the best shrimp in this collection in my opinion. We have a red Stardust. Let's take a look at them. It always was my dream to have a red Stardust shrimp, and I saw lots of them in Kevin's store. He has plenty tanks with red Stardust. I think this is one of his specialty. And guys, just look at them. They are so beautiful. Their legs are absolutely stunning. I still cannot believe I have them in my collection. Thank you, Kelvin, to send them to me. You made me very happy. Alright guys, all the shrimps inside these boxes, very healthy, not a single death, very fast delivery, very pleased. Guys, you can feel from my voice, I feel like a kid in Disneyland now. They had a long flight. They probably have a jet lag, so let's not make them wait any longer and drip acclimate them before we move them into the new homes. Let's do it now. After long drip acclimating, I release the shrimps into my fully established setups. Some of the shrimp I mixed together and some of them I mixed with my existing shrimp. As I mentioned, they are not going to be in these tanks for long, they're just going to wait for the new tanks to be fully cycled and matured, and in a couple of months they're gonna have their own place where they hopefully breed me lots of babies. It's already been 7 weeks since we've got the shrimp. The shrimp have grown a bit since then, and some of them even started to breed. The new tank's already cycled, and I'm just about to move the shrimp in them. I just want to wait for another week or two for the tanks to be properly matured, just to be on the safe side. And now, let me show you the shrimp. In this tank, I've temporarily mixed our black galaxy tigers with ocean blue shrimp. Just look at their colors and patterns, they're absolutely gorgeous. They already become young adults and start breeding. I've noticed a few galaxy tigers females carrying eggs. I'm really hoping they bred with their own kind, but if I find any unusual looking babies, I'll call them. It's not a big deal. Can't wait to move them into their own tank, which should be ready in a week or so. These ocean blue shrimp have very interesting coloration. Just look at these 3 different shades of blue. Gorgeous shrimp. So happy to have them in my tank now. The galaxy tiger here are mixed grade, but to me they all look perfect. Let me quickly explain how Kelvin grades his shrimp. So he breeds only the highest grade shrimp in the breeding tanks and avoids breeding low grades. He then moves all the babies to grow out tank, where they are sorted into 3 groups based on quality. These are sold at different price point. When you buy mixed grades, it means he randomly netting shrimp from ungraded grow out tank. This way your package can include shrimp of all grades, including the highest quality, most expensive ones, which can be worth quite a lot. Moving on to the next tank, and here we have our red stardust mixed with the red snowfall shrimp, 2 similar looking and very rare shrimp. When they are together you can clearly see the difference. The snowfalls have smaller dots and random patterns, while the stardust feature larger dots and very uniform fishbone pattern on the tails. I personally prefer the look of the stardust because the patterns are more consistent and they all look alike compared to the random patterns of the snowfalls. The stardust shrimp we have here are mixed grade, but I can see a lot of high grade ones in the group. Now I understand why the shrimps are so popular in Singapore. They are very beautiful. They're just about to start breeding, so I need to move them into the new tank as soon as possible to prevent them mixing with the snowfalls. Thankfully the tank will be ready very soon. And here's the tank with deep blue balls, one of the oldest Caridina lines that has improved significantly over the time. Through years of selective breeding, they've developed into a stunning bright blue variety, and these shrimps are a great example. I've always wanted to have high-grade blue balls, and here you go, now I finally have them. I noticed they were more vibrant when they first arrived, but have slightly lost their color in my tank. For blue ball shrimp, the intensity of the blue depends on the water parameters. Typically they display a deeper blue in the water with high GH and in all the setups. I also have about like 10 blue dragon shrimp in this tank, but I plan to move them to a new tank once it's ready. And here we probably have the most popular Caridina shrimp, a mix of beautiful black and red fancy tiger shrimp. The color are incredibly vibrant and they even have a painted legs. The shrimp are quite hardy, which makes them popular among beginners. Interestingly, they are the only shrimp that Kelvin grades into 4 categories, and the price can vary greatly depending on the grades. This group here is a mixed grade, but they all look absolutely stunning to me. I'm not planning to keep them together for long. The tanks are now fully cycled and I'm just about to move them into their new homes. Last but not least, we have a mix of pure black line and black King Kong in this tank. They are 2 very old Caridina strains that were created a long time ago. The shrimps are triple S or K14 grade with dominant white color and just a touch of black on their heads. Most of the shrimp have vibrant colors and beautiful painted white legs. I absolutely love them. The black King Kong shrimp, also known as shadow pandas, have stunning blue and black coloration that is increased over the time. The older the shrimp, the more vibrant the blue becomes. Similar to the blue balls, the intensity of the blue color depends on the water parameters. All of these black King Kong shrimp here have a beautifully painted black legs, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have them in my collection. Kelvin has so many of rare and unique Caridina shrimp in his shop in Singapore, and they're quite affordable. When I was there, I spotted some stunning wicked stardust shrimp. I'd love to buy them. There is only one problem though, the shipping shrimp from Singapore is extremely expensive. It almost costs as much as the plane ticket from London to Singapore, and it's not worth it unless you buy a large quantity. However, if any of you in the UK are interested in pre-ordering beautiful shrimp directly from Kelvin Wong, let me know. If few of us combine our orders and share the shipping cost, we could get a pretty good deal. You can find more details and the price list on my website, just check the link in the description box. Thank you once again Kelvin for sending this stunning shrimp, and thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please drop me a like, and if you'd like to see more macro footage of this beautiful shrimp with some relaxing music, continue to watch to the end. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.